The cameras stopped rolling, the broadcast faded to black. Millions watching at home thought the show was over. But inside that arena, with the crowd still buzzing, with the energy still crackling through the air like electricity, something incredible was about to happen. Roman Reigns, the tribal chief, the head of the table, the man who has controlled WWE for years, stood in the center of that ring. And what he did next, what he said next, is going to blow your mind. Because when the cameras aren't rolling, when the corporate suits aren't watching, when it's just the tribal chief and his family, the real Roman Reigns comes out. And what went down after Raw went off the air is exactly why the Bloodline story is the greatest wrestling saga of our generation. The arena is still shaking. You can feel the electricity coursing through every single person in that building. Moments ago, Roman Reigns made his shocking return to Monday Night Raw, and he didn't just show up. He destroyed the Vision. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, the two monsters who put Reigns on a stretcher at Clash in Paris, the two men who thought they had ended the tribal chief's reign of dominance, just got annihilated. Steel chair shots that echoed through the arena like gunshots. The sickening thud of metal against flesh. The crowd erupting in absolute pandemonium as the Usos stood tall with their cousin by their side. But here's where it gets emotional. Here's where it gets real. Because after helping the Usos secure their victory, after laying waste to the Vision, Roman Reigns grabbed a microphone. The crowd was still on their feet, still chanting his name, still processing what they had just witnessed. And the tribal chief looked around that arena, looked at his cousins Jimmy and G standing beside him, and he spoke words that cut straight to the heart of what the Bloodline has always been about. Like I said, some things change, but not me. If it ain't broke, don't fix it, Reigns declared, his voice dripping with confidence and authority. The crowd roared in response. I'm tired of everybody thinking they understand the landscape. I'm tired of everybody thinking they understand the top of the mountain. You could feel the weight of those words. You could feel the years of dominance, the battles fought, the wars won, all compressed into that single moment. Roman Reigns wasn't just talking to the crowd. He was sending a message to every single person in that locker room, to every upstart who thinks they can take his spot, to everyone who thought his time was over. Only one man understands this altitude. The tribal chief. The greatest of all time, he continued, his eyes blazing with intensity. They only want what they don't have. Touch anything and turn it into gold. You understand that? That's what makes me so damn good. And then, in a moment that sent shockwaves through the wrestling world, Roman Reigns turned his attention to GUSO. The same G who walked away from the Bloodline. The same G who became main event GUSO and carved out his own path. The same G who held the World Heavyweight Championship and proved he didn't need Roman to be a star. Roman got right in his cousin's face, and the tension was suffocating. You could see Jimmy watching nervously from the corner, unsure of what was about to happen. But Roman didn't attack. He didn't berate. Instead, he gave G advice. Cold, calculated, powerful advice that echoed everything Roman has learned on his journey to the top. Ain't nobody going to give it to you, you have to take it, Roman told G, their faces inches apart. And in that moment, you could see the history between them. The Hell in a Cell match. The I Quit match. The abuse. The manipulation. But also the family bond that has always been there, buried underneath all the pain. This wasn't the tyrannical Roman Reigns who abused his family for years. This was something different. This was Roman acknowledging that G has grown, that G has proven himself, and that maybe, just maybe, they're stronger together than they ever were apart. The crowd sensed it too. They erupted in cheers, because after years of watching this family tear itself apart, after watching Roman manipulate and control his cousins, after seeing G finally break free and become his own man, this felt like the beginning of something new. But here's what makes this moment absolutely gut-wrenching. Jimmy USO was standing right there. Jimmy, who has always been the loyal one. Jimmy, who stood by Roman longer than anyone. Jimmy, who defended his brother G during the darkest days of the Bloodline but also tried to keep the family together. And you could see it on his face. Confusion, suspicion, fear. Because Jimmy knows Roman better than anyone. He knows the mind games. He knows the manipulation. And watching Roman get close to G again, watching Roman praise G and push him toward greatness, Jimmy couldn't help but wonder, is this real? Or is this the beginning of another trap? And that's the brilliance of this story. That's why the Bloodline saga has captivated millions of fans around the world. Because it's not just about championship belts and matches. It's about family. It's about betrayal. It's about the complicated, messy, painful relationships that define who we are. And watching it play out after the cameras stopped rolling, in that raw, unfiltered moment, made it feel even more real. The Usos have been through hell because of Roman Reigns. They've been beaten down, manipulated, and used as pawns in his quest for dominance. But they're also family. And family is complicated. Family forgives. Family moves forward. And maybe, just maybe, Roman has learned that he can't do this alone. That he needs his cousins. That the Bloodline is stronger together than it ever was with Roman as a dictator. But can they trust him? That's the question that's going to haunt us for weeks, maybe months to come. Can Jimmy and G trust Roman Reigns? Or is this just another chapter in the tribal chief's playbook, another manipulation designed to use his family for his own gain? If you're feeling this emotion right now, if you're invested in this story, I need you to do something for me. Hit that like button right now. Subscribe to SLAMZONE if you haven't already, because we're going to be covering every single moment of this Bloodline saga as it unfolds. This is a family here on SLAMZONE, and we're all going through this journey together. Join us. hit that notification bell. Share this video with your friends who love wrestling, because what's coming is going to be legendary. Now, let's talk about what happened in the ring before that emotional aftermath. Because the match itself was absolute chaos. The Usos were scheduled to face the Vision's Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed, the same team that defeated them at WrestlePalooza. This was a rematch, and the stakes couldn't have been higher. The Usos needed to prove they could hang with the young, hungry monsters of the Vision, and for most of the match, it looked like they were in serious trouble. Braun Breaker is a specimen. At just 27 years old, he's already being called the next big thing in WWE. The power, the speed, the intensity, it's all there. And when he gets rolling, when he hits the devastating spear that has ended so many careers, you can feel the impact through the screen. Bronson Reed is equally terrifying. Over 300 pounds of pure destruction, capable of crushing opponents with his tsunami splash, a move that has put multiple wrestlers on the shelf. The Usos were fighting valiantly, using their experience, their chemistry, their years of tag team excellence to stay in the fight. Jimmy hit a super kick that staggered Breaker. G followed up with a suicide dive that took Reed off his feet. The crowd was on fire, chanting for the Usos, willing them to victory. But the Vision is relentless. They're a faction built on dominance, on destroying everything in their path, and they weren't about to let the Usos steal this victory. Breaker caught Jimmy with a massive spinebuster that shook the ring. Reed climbed to the top rope, his massive frame perched precariously on the turnbuckle, ready to deliver the tsunami splash that would end it all. The crowd gasped. This was it. The Usos were about to lose again. The Vision was about to cement their dominance. And then, the music hit. That ominous, powerful theme that has struck fear into the hearts of WWE superstars for years. Roman Reigns' music. The crowd exploded. People were on their feet, screaming, jumping, unable to believe what they were seeing. Because Roman Reigns was supposed to be out of action. He was taken out on a stretcher at Clash in Paris after the Vision laid him out following his victory over Bronson Reed. But there he was, walking down that ramp with purpose, with fury, with the intensity of a man who has unfinished business. Reed and Breaker froze. You could see the fear flash across their faces for just a split second before they composed themselves. But it was too late. Roman slid into the ring, and all hell broke loose. Superman punches to both men. The crowd counted along with every strike. 1, 2, 3. Breaker stumbled backward. Reed tried to charge, but Roman sidestepped and sent him crashing into the corner. And then, Roman grabbed a steel chair. The sound of that chair hitting flesh was sickening, brutal, visceral. Roman Reigns unleashed years of frustration on the Vision, chair shot after chair shot, each one more devastating than the last. Breaker crumpled to the mat. Reed rolled out of the ring, clutching his back in agony. And the Usos, sensing their opportunity, capitalized. G hit the USO splash. Jimmy covered. 1, 2, 3. The Usos win. But the victory almost felt secondary to what came after. Because as the Usos celebrated, as the crowd roared their approval, Roman Reigns stood in the center of that ring and delivered his message. Not just to the crowd, not just to the Vision, but to the entire WWE locker room. The tribal chief is back. And nothing has changed. Except, something has changed. And that's what makes this so fascinating. Because in one moment, Roman was delivering that powerful promo about being the greatest of all time, about understanding the mountain, about turning everything he touches into gold. But in another moment, there was something different in his eyes when he looked at G. There was respect. There was pride. There was an acknowledgement that G has become something special in his own right. And then came the moment that broke the internet. After the show went completely off the air, in a segment that was only for the live crowd, Roman Reigns did something absolutely unthinkable. GUSO was in the ring doing his signature YEET celebration with the fans, and he noticed Roman watching from the corner. G encouraged his cousin to join him, and after looking hesitant at first, Roman smiled, climbed to the middle rope, and joined G in the YEET chant. The crowd went insane. Because this was Roman Reigns breaking character. This was the real man behind the tribal chief persona, the man who loves his family, the man who respects what G has accomplished. After the celebration, the two shared a hug before leaving the ring. And for fans who have followed the story for years, who have watched this family tear itself apart and slowly try to rebuild, that moment was everything. It was a reminder that underneath all the manipulation, underneath all the power struggles and championship reigns, the bloodline is still a family. And families, no matter how broken, no matter how much pain they've caused each other, can find their way back together. That hug meant something. It meant forgiveness. It meant growth. It meant that maybe, just maybe, Roman Reigns has learned that he doesn't need to control everyone around him to be great. But the big question remains, is this genuine? Or is this another manipulation? Because if there's one thing we've learned about Roman Reigns over the years, it's that he's a master strategist. He plays the long game. He plants seeds months in advance and watches them grow into championship opportunities. So is this reunion with the Usos real? Or is Roman using them again, getting close to G so he can benefit from G's popularity and momentum? Jimmy USO certainly seems suspicious. In recent weeks, he's been watching Roman and G's interactions with growing concern. Jimmy knows better than anyone what Roman is capable of. He lived through the darkest days of the bloodline, when Roman was a tyrant, when dissent was met with punishment, when family loyalty was demanded but never returned. So watching Roman suddenly praise G, suddenly get close to his brother again, Jimmy can't shake the feeling that something isn't right. And that's going to be the story moving forward. That's what's going to keep us on the edge of our seats for the next several months. Will the bloodline truly reunite? Will Roman, Jimmy, and G stand together as a family again? Or will Roman's old habits resurface, leading to another heartbreaking betrayal? Because the history is there. The scars are there. And scars don't heal overnight. What makes this even more compelling is the backdrop against which this is all happening. Uso has been growing colder and more determined to regain the World Heavyweight Championship that he lost. He's been exhibiting more and more behavior reminiscent of the tribal chief during Roman's reign of terror. The aggression, the ruthlessness, the willingness to do whatever it takes to win. And Roman sees it. Roman recognizes it. Because it's the same qualities that made him the most dominant champion in WWE history. So when Roman tells G to take what's his, when he pushes G to embrace the darker side, is he genuinely trying to help his cousin reach his potential? Or is he molding G into another version of himself, someone he can control and manipulate? The line between mentorship and manipulation is razor thin, and with Roman Reigns, you never know which side you're on until it's too late. The Vision is watching all of this unfold, and they're not happy. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed came to Raw to make a statement, to prove that they're the future of WWE, to show that the old guard is done. But Roman Reigns just proved that he's far from done. He proved that the tribal chief is still the most dangerous man in WWE. And now, the Vision has a target on their backs. Because Roman doesn't forget. Roman doesn't forgive. And Roman always gets his revenge. The next few weeks are going to be absolutely explosive. We're heading toward what could be one of the biggest matches in Raw history. The Bloodline reunited, standing together against the Vision. Roman Reigns, Jimmy Uso, and G Uso, fighting side by side like they did in the glory days, taking on the young upstarts who think they can dethrone the family that built this company. This is where legends are made. This is where careers are defined. And this is where the Bloodline will either prove they're still the most dominant force in WWE, or where the Vision will tear them apart once and for all. But beyond the matches, beyond the championships, beyond the violence and the drama, this story is about something much deeper. It's about redemption. It's about whether people can change. It's about whether a family that has been through so much pain and betrayal can find their way back to each other. And that's why millions of fans are invested. That's why this story has resonated for years. Because we see ourselves in it. We've all had family drama. We've all been hurt by people we love. We've all wondered if forgiveness is possible, if trust can be rebuilt, if the people who broke us can become the people who heal us. Roman Reigns is asking for that chance. Whether he deserves it, whether he's earned it, that's up for debate. But he's asking. And Jimmy and G have to decide if they're willing to give it to him. Because once you open that door, once you let someone back in, you're vulnerable again. You're risking more heartbreak. You're betting on someone who has already proven they can let you down. Before we wrap this up, I need you to do something. If this video has moved you, if you're feeling the emotion of this story, hit that like button right now. Subscribe to SLAMZONE and join this incredible family that we're building here. Share this video with your wrestling friends, because we're about to witness history. The Bloodline story is reaching its next chapter, and we're going to be here for every moment, breaking it down, analyzing it, feeling it together. Hit that notification bell so you never miss an upload, because trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming. So what happens next? Where does this story go from here? My prediction is that we're building toward a massive tag team match, possibly at an upcoming premium live event. Roman Reigns and G Uso versus Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed. The Bloodline versus the Vision. The old guard versus the new generation. And that match is going to be an absolute war. It's going to be brutal. It's going to be emotional. And it's going to determine the future of Monday Night Raw. But here's the twist I'm predicting. I think Jimmy Uso is going to be the wild card. I think at some crucial moment, when Roman and G need him most, Jimmy is going to have to make a choice. Does he trust Roman? Does he stand with his family? Or does he walk away, unable to forgive, unable to risk being hurt again? And whatever Jimmy decides in that moment is going to change everything. Because that's the heart of this story. It's not about who wins the match. It's about whether this family can truly come together again. It's about whether the Bloodline can be more than just a faction, more than just a storyline, and become a genuine brotherhood again. And we won't know the answer until we get there. Until that moment of truth arrives and Jimmy Uso has to look his cousin in the eye and decide if Roman Reigns is worth believing in one more time. The clock is ticking. The story is building. And the Bloodline saga, the greatest wrestling storyline of this generation, is about to reach its most emotional, most powerful, most unforgettable chapter yet. Roman Reigns is back. The Usos are by his side. And the Vision is ready for war. This is where legends are made. This is where families are tested. And this is where we find out if the tribal chief has truly changed, or if he's the same manipulator he's always been. Thank you so much for watching SLAMZONE. Make sure you've hit that subscribe button, smash that like button, and turn on notifications so you don't miss a single moment of this incredible story. Comment below and tell me what you think. Do you trust Roman Reigns? Do you think the Bloodline can truly reunite? Or is this just another setup for heartbreak? I want to hear from you, because this is a family, and your voice matters. Until next time, keep believing in the magic of wrestling. Keep supporting the stories that move you. And remember, in the world of the bloodline, nothing is ever as simple as it seems. This is SLAMZONE, and I'll see you in the next one.